In terms of getting excited about China and whether markets are prepared to lift off, well, it's all with the backdrop of politics getting set for a race in 2020. At least that's what a lot of people are saying. Charlie Gasparino joins us now. And obviously the other thing, and the president tweeted about this a bunch of times this morning, is you get the Mueller investigation. So all of this kind of thrown into one pot.
Your last guest kind of laid out why Wall Street is really confused. And you see the market gyrating all day today about China. Whether we have a deal, we don't have a deal. With a NAFTA, we have a deal on that. They are completely perplexed when you talk to major investors and traders about what his trade policies really are. I will say this: there's a cottage industry in Washington which deals with hedge funds and large traders, and they just watch. They try to figure out. They try to provide these hedge funds and major investors with information about where legislation is going, but also on trying to read Trump's trade policy.
Yeah, like scenarios. This is what's most likely to happen. I am telling you,
I spoke with at least 3 of these types over the last week. They can't figure it out. That's why you see the stuff trading all over the place. Obviously, what they're praying for, if you're a major investor, you're praying for a deal, a NAFTA deal. You're praying for a China deal, and you're praying for it right before the 2020 election campaigning begins, which is essentially this summer. This summer is when the campaign kicks off. Remember, when Trump came down the escalator, when he announced his presidency, I believe it was July
2015.
2015. It's like right around then is when you start campaigning. And so that's the same situation right now. So they're hoping for this trade stuff to sort of subside, or just, some sort of certainty. Because if we don't have certainty with this, the markets are going to gyrate all over the place. And it's going to hurt his election chances, by the way.
Well, and that was going to be my next point. Is like it seems like he realizes that. It's hard to read into why things happen over the weekend. But if he's got a strong economy, right, then maybe he's more likely, if growth picks up again, for example, he's more likely to really hammer China. Whereas if we're still in the story of the day is kind of like, wow, things are slowing down, then he's more likely maybe to make a deal with China.
I will say this. His heart of hearts, listen, there are 2 sides to Trump's brain reflected in the administration. There's the Larry Kudlow, Steve Mnuchin side of his brain, and then there's the Peter Navarro and, to some extent, Robert Lighthizer side of his brain.
Well, that's where his heart is.
His heart is with Navarro, Lighthizer on trade hawks, not with those guys. Now, those guys are trying to tell him that there's a political reality. Political reality is this: economy could slow. Which it probably will. Tax cuts may not produce the bang for the buck that you need. Plus a trade war, that's going to crush your 2020 election chances. He's turning around and listening to Peter Navarro saying China is still taking us to the cleaners. They're pernicious. They want to rule the world. You got elected because of your base, which loves the hard line on China. Keep going there. And who's going to win that? I can't tell you. Donald Trump doesn't act rationally a lot.
Well, this bought him some time,
he reacts.
This bought him some time this weekend. I mean, if he is acting rationally, he could have said to himself, you know what, let me get...
And that's why you saw Kudlow do the rounds to try to sort of spin it in a way that we're heading for a deal. When in reality, there's not really much here in terms of a deal.
I mean,
but no one knows. I mean, there's no meat on the bones here. And this whole thing with NAFTA throws another monkey wrench into it. What is it? And that's why you see the markets all over the place. I mean, people are literally having a debate, trading stocks over where trade is going. And listen, the rational person would say he's just bluffing. He's going to cut a deal right before he starts to run, and the markets are going to go crazy, and it's going to help him. But Donald Trump doesn't always act rationally when it comes to this stuff.
Well, it's this issue versus other issues, I think, that people, at least the people I speak to, look at differently. So if this was some foreign policy issue, you might be able to go back to that and say, yeah, he doesn't have a strong feeling about this either way, so he's going to act in his own best interest.
Remember, the best.
But this issue, he's been like this for 35 years on this issue.
And here's the sort of interesting thing about it. If he were really wanting to screw China in a coherent way, he'd be doing this with Europeans, with other trading partners, putting a coalition together to screw with them, particularly on intellectual property.
Well, take off the aluminum tariffs.
Yeah, instead that, what did he do? He went to war with Europe in trade war. So this is a dicey thing that has the markets, now we're trading off again. It has the markets scared. And I can't tell you where I'm telling you, I had 3 of these outfits from Washington ask me my opinion where they think he's going, and I gave him this scenario. The scenario is you have one side of his brain, which is occupied by Navarro. You have the other side by Kudlow and Mnuchin. They're fighting over each other. He, in his heart of hearts, He believes in Navarro, but you know, they're trying to say think rationally about this. So I don't know where he's going to come out.
We were up 441. Now we're up 228.
Yeah,
so.
Nice. I sent the market down.
That's the way the day's going. No, not in the last 10 minutes. In the whole day.
Well, it has gone down since I started talking.
Well, yeah, we've got used to that.
Yes.
Thank you, Charlie.